My name is Michael Miller. This is a Michael Miller trademark training video out to you because you're watching. Thank you. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, the Core New Core, my patrons, Clayton, Ruby, Stephanie, and Jonathan. I have a new patron on Independence Day in my country, and after I think a broadcast about why and how Pilates or MMP sets you free. That's all I'm saying. It's a point of view. It's a point of view. So, welcome to my new patron. I thank you directly because as a patron, you help support my website, hermit.com, because it costs money to have it out there and every little bit helps. What you get out of it, I don't know, but one thing is you get to say that you were a patron and you've maybe been a patron since so-and-so. So you establish yourself in a sequence of time for what you recognize. That may be good or bad, but it's something that happens, right? It's amazing, my note is, it's amazing how far a little bit of recognition can take you or inspire you to continue doing more. And so I acknowledge both your acknowledgement, thank you, and your help financially, in coin, real, demonstrably so. So I hope you get what you want out of it, and I certainly take it as a sign of encouragement. So let me go on to number 2. I think I just have 4 things today. 2. Reality-based Pilates. I think I just like the title. Reality-based Pilates. Somehow reality-based, and Pilates seems to be the MMP point of view, insofar as it looks at the biology and the physics and Joe's book and takes it from there. So my highlight on that reality-based Pilates, see if your copy of Return to Life Through Contrology matches somebody else's, and then based on how many of those copies are out there and how many say the same thing. For me, that's all a reality of Pilates I need to get to an explanation of it. And in the clarity of having an explanation, come from a sense of peace and calm and excitement in being a Pilates instructor, because you know what that means. You know what you're doing. You know what you're aiming for. You know how to hit it. So, MMP is reality-based Pilates. On just his book. And that may not be enough for you, but at least it's nice to know that MMP comes from 3 things right in Joe's book. And that whatever it makes of what it is, the explanation that MMP offers, we'll see how that does over the test of time. For you right now, whenever you're listening to this, to have confidence of being a Pilates instructor, I have Joe's book in English and your language, but at least a copy of each. if it's not the same thing, and see for yourself, right? Observe yourself. Joe's definition and Joe's statement that contrology develops the body uniformly, and then the sequence, meaning the exercises and the order they're in, and you compare, and you take that as real. Now there's all this other stuff that wants to crowd in and be considered as far as what Pilates is. I just want you to understand that MMP is a point of view that's based on a theory that there's an ideal within Joe's original work, just based on those three things out of his book. So number 3, I guess this has some segue to it, because number 3, the title goes like this: loading digital images, ... First they appear fuzzy, and then they become crystal clear. Now, does that make any sense to you? Have you ever looked at a digital image and on first take, it's fuzzy, and then after a bit of time, it gets crystal clear? Why is that? Why isn't it just crystal clear immediately? Because it's more information is coming or being delivered to get to that level of clarity. To me, if you get what I'm talking about with the digital images, first coming in fuzzy and then getting very clear, Joe's book, all of Joe's work is this image. And yet it's not crystal clear. It's not as clear as when you look at it through the point of view of MMP. Now you may like it fuzzy and be an impressionist and prefer to live in an impressionist's world, culture, point of view. My point is that Pilates as a culture is changing and under the pressure of seeking profits by large capital, which means smart people, and for some it won't be enough to live in an impressionistic world. And to survive as a Pilates instructor, I'm merely suggesting to you that when you know about CT and MMP, it empowers you with a crystal clear point of view on the subject. Not the only one, not the best one, but just one that deals with looking for the essence within the method and believing there to be one, rather than heading toward the other end of the spectrum. So number 4 is just 2 words: Pilates imagination. What does that mean to you? What does that mean to me? what is imagination and what is Pilates? And is Pilates anything you can imagine? Or is Pilates something you apply to imagination? Or is imagination something you apply to Pilates? I think that's the point of view I'm pressing towards. Insofar as when you move or go to engage yourself or align yourself in space, let's just leave it to that. Not even moving, but just standing up straight. Right? And the obvious point being that the straighter you stand up, the less stress you're under. Right? You with me on that? Try it the other way and stand really crooked and see how long you last standing really crooked versus standing up straight. Gravity, as always, right, is the issue. Because it forces the issue, the point, what I'm pointing at, it forces the issue of alignment. Alignment is sensational via tension between 2 points that triggers more uniform engagement and makes alignment sensational. So I'm here so you can see who's talking, but this image is what you have to use to engage your imagination in oppositional rotation between axes. That's the definition of core new tension. And in doing so, more evenly distributes how heavy your body is, because it more evenly distributes. I said it okay the first time. So it's just a single note, Imagine core new when you do. That was my initial title. Imagine, so I'm saying imagine this image in order to engage in core new tension when you do. See, like when you do, what does that mean? When you move, when you're doing something. So you're not moving in a way you are, but if you're just standing stock still, you're doing that. But still, you want to be able to distribute your load as efficiently as possible. And that's just the biomechanics within the biology and the physics that it's struggling to survive in. So I'm really thrilled to have another patron. Thank you. If you happen to listen to this ever, you're more on a Facebook observing thing, but you never know. There may be some viewing of previous recordings, and I hope the availability for that. And insofar as this is YouTube and not Facebook, I have more control over that. So in these broadcasts, I'm trying to communicate a point of view. So that's what I'm offering, is this point of view. And then something I'm selling you beyond this point of view that may be of value to you is the PowerPoint presentation that's included in my Udemy course, How to Survive as a Pilates Instructor. So you're in for $1, and I thank you so much. And it gives both of us a connection we didn't have before. and glad to have it now, because live can't live forever. Read between the lines and see behind the curtain. Evaluate points of view. And I hope if you're not a patron and you listen to this, and you go to patreon.com, michaelmillerpilates, you become a patron, because it helps me support my effort to put this message out, and it gives you a point in time when you sought to be a patron. Now, that can always go away. There's no commitments. See? Evaluate points of view, and then support the ones that support you. Haven't said that before. And then add 2 and 2, which is what I've just been trying to do. The 2 of the cost of me doing this, and your 2 in a connection to a commonality of purchase or perceived value. There you go. Go right ahead. Become a Sapphire patron. You never know what might come out of that. And you might just be the one to become that level of patron. So when you charge 2 and 2, set tiers as to how much support someone is willing to give you or wants to give you. Don't limit their options to the downside, because all it takes are 1 or 2 really upside patrons that can help you continue doing what you're doing. And I guess the point I would make there is, I tried to go straight through Patreon, but it was much easier to deliver this YouTube and the following Facebook just directly, and then make comments according to the tier of support that I get based on what I consider to be the primary part of my profession these days, which are these broadcasts. And behind the add 2 and 2 is direct your thinking. And behind that is, of course, Geist.